yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Pull up with a bad bitch, ayy. I ain't never settling for average, ayy. Shawty said she wanna see my savage, ayy. Goddamn, goddamn. Henny gripping and I'm saucing. 2 cups, deuce up is how I'm rocking. I do this every day, I do this often. Goddamn, goddamn.
Yo, everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in to this episode of the Being Technical podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Aaron, where I'm being technical and not practical. For all my new listeners out there, I appreciate y'all for tuning in to this episode. For my continued listeners, I appreciate the continuous support. I got much love for y'all. If y'all keep sticking in, tuning in with me, don't worry. I got y'all. For all my supporters, for all my new listeners, I appreciate y'all. Once again, I do got a lot to dive in on this past week of sports and news. But beforehand, I got to give a big shout out to my man, my homie, my bro, Barf from the Bleacher Report. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you for hopping on my last episode. For those that haven't checked it out, you can go to my previous episodes. The episode I did with Barf was called Shots with the Bartender. We were just chopping it up, talking sports, reminiscing and talking about, everything else. So for y'all who haven't checked it out, once again, you can go listen to my previous episodes. I am available on all platforms. On Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, even straight here from the Anchor app. You can also listen to my episodes on the YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Being Technical Podcast. If you don't feel like listening to all the other platforms, you can also hop on YouTube. Give me a subscribe. Also, give me a thumbs up rating. Anyways, let me hop on because I got a lot to talk about. I got a lot to dive into, my opinions. Obviously, I know I'm late to the party. I ain't get to really touch up on what happened to start off the week. Obviously, everyone's heard Kansas City Chiefs locked up Patrick Mahomes and gave him a new 10-year, $503 million. My man's got $500 million. My first thought was, good God, he got paid. And secondly, I was like, damn, he's fucking worth it. I'd have gave him 500. Man, he might have got more if he really. I was thinking when I sat back and thought, I was like, damn. I think he could have got more. Ends up, when you do the math, it ends up being somewhere close to $40+ million a year. He got $170-some million guaranteed, and no one was like shocked by that. I mean, when you saw the numbers, you were shocked, but when you really thought about it, you're like, he's only 24. You're like, damn, they still got him, and even then, when that contract's up, he's only gonna be 34, 35, and he could still get another contract. That's what's crazy about it. My man has only played in the NFL for 3 seasons and already got himself a $500 million contract. And the man is only 24. He got to be the most accomplished 24-year-old you could possibly think of. I mean, when you look at all of sports, how many athletes could you say are worth $500 million contract? The only ones I could think of, LeBron James, Cristiano Ronaldo, Leonardo Messi. That is in the class that Patrick Mahomes is in when you break it down. He is in the class of athlete when you could think of in all of sport that if you were a general manager that you would give a $500 million contract to is only other athletes I could think of. LeBron James, Cristiano Ronaldo. You could say Leonardo Messi and maybe Neymar, maybe close, because that's basically saying they will. If you have those players on your team, you have a chance to compete for a championship every single year. They will make your team relevant, and they will sell out merchandise sell up the stadiums, have everybody watching them. That is the class you are putting Patrick Mahomes in. My man got a baseball contract. And when you think about it, Patrick Mahomes got a $500 million. Mike Trout in the MLB gets 400-something million. Giancarlo Stanton for the Yankees gets $330 million. And they get paid all that money. And do they have the same kind of impact on their teams that Patrick Mahomes has? When you really think about it, I think the Kansas City Chiefs got a bargain. Because in the 3 years my man has played, he's already won an MVP. He was an offside call away from basically going back-to-back in the Super Bowl. He's won a Super Bowl MVP, and he won an MVP, all at the age of 24. He got to be the greatest 24-year-old in history. Just think about it. What was you doing at 24? I know at 24, I just got out of college. I was maybe a year out of college trying to figure out what the fuck I was going to do with my life. And this man already got his life set at 24. Got all that money, got all the accolades. I don't know what more he can do in life. I mean, the man has accomplished everything. But when you break it down 12 years for $503 million, he going to be, 34 by the time that contract's up and going to get another contract. But it sounds good right now, but I mean, how can you measure if that contract was truly worth the 10 years? So let's just say the time is up. What does he have to do to say the contract was worthy? Is it just another Super Bowl? Does he have to win multiple Super Bowls? I mean, if you ask me, I think if he gets 2 more Super Bowls out of that contract, it was worth it. Because the man has already brought you 3 Super Bowls in that frame. But what got me thinking, because obviously Super Bowls are what quarterbacks are measured for. What if Tom Brady, a 25-year-old Tom Brady, was in this market? Yeah, let's just say Tom Brady at age 25, 26 was in this current quarterback market. Would he be worth a 10-year, $400 million, $500 million deal? He had 3 Super Bowls. And he had the Patriots. That was the beginning of the Patriots dynasty. Had 3 Super Bowls, had an MVP, had 3 Super Bowl MVPs. Would you say 25-year-old Tom Brady was worth $500 million? You could argue, like a lot of people argue what they use against Tom Brady. Oh, he has Bill Belichick. It was the coach. The coach is the system. But you could say the same thing about Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has a Hall of Fame coach in Andy Reid, one of the greatest offensive minds in all of NFL's history. He's got weapons. You could argue Tom Brady has never played with the likes of a Tyreek Hill and a Travis Kelce and a Mecole Hardman and a Sure, Mahomes can make a lot more throws than Tom Brady could. He's a lot more mobile. He's a lot more flashy. But last time I checked, the NFL is all about wins and Super Bowls. And Tom Brady at this time, 25, 26, he had 3 Super Bowls. Would he be worth? Would you give Tom Brady, if you fast forward to right now, Tom Brady at the beginning of that Patriots dynasty now with the 3 Super Bowls, would you give Tom Brady $500 million? He ended up playing with them 20 years, and now he's got 6 Super Bowls and 9 Super Bowl appearances. What other quarterbacks you could say had 9 Super Bowl appearances in a 20-year span? That's basically the length of the Patrick Mahomes contract, let's just say. Going on 20 years. Going on 12, so he'd have played about 15 years. Would he have to have the same accomplishments as Tom Brady to make the contract worthy? If he, let's just say, gets 1 more Super Bowl and everyone says he was absolutely worth the money, wouldn't you make the same argument for Tom Brady that he deserved $500 million also 10 years ago? But in fact, Tom Brady took less and still didn't play with the likes of the offensive arsenal that Patrick Mahomes has. I'm not saying he's not worth it. I'm saying Tom Brady was also worth that same contract that Patrick Mahomes got. Let's just say, for Patrick Mahomes' sake, he's not a one-hit wonder. Because last I checked, the New England Patriots are an anomaly. It is really hard to win a Super Bowl in the NFL. Just look at through history. How many quarterbacks did you think have multiple Super Bowls? Joe Montana. Troy Aikman had 3, 2, and then you get to Tom Brady with 6. And then even John Elway, he has 2 Super Bowls, but it took John Elway till his ending of his career to even win those 2 Super Bowls. He almost went his whole career without winning a Super Bowl until the Broncos, until the end of his career when he got Mike Shanahan in the system and they were able to pull off 2 Super Bowls. So when you look at it, even Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. And he was arguably the Patrick Mahomes of his era, one of the greatest throwers of the football. Didn't even win a Super Bowl. And the NFL is a cap-riddled league. It is a what have you done for me lately? If you go down the drawing boards 5-6 years later and the Kansas City Chiefs don't get back to the Super Bowl, will the Chiefs want to move on? Or do they play him through the duration of his career? Just ask even all the quarterbacks that even have a Super Bowl how hard it is to get back to another Super Bowl. Russell Wilson won 1 Super Bowl. He hasn't won another Super Bowl since. Brett Favre only had 1 Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers, who before Patrick Mahomes was the best quarterback in the NFL, and he has only won 1 Super Bowl in 2010, and he has not been back since. That is how hard it is to win a Super Bowl in the NFL. He may not even ever make it back to the Super Bowl from here on out. When you really think about it, it's not like the NBA where you put together two, three stars together and you can go on and win multiple championships like the Warriors, the Lakers of their era, the Miami Heat. You just get a couple teams, couple of star players together, because in the NBA, it's a 7-game series. So even if you lose 1, you have 3 more or 4 more opportunities to win the series. Unlike the NFL, where it's so much luck and so much attrition it takes to win a Super Bowl. You can have injuries. It's a 1 and you're out playoff scenario. You could have 1 bad game in the playoffs and you're out. You could have had a great season, and just like that, it's over. As the 98 Vikings, the greatest team, one of the greatest teams in all of the NFL. They did everything right. All it took was 1 missed field goal by Gary Anderson, and their season, their 15-1 season was over just like that. That's all it took. Ask the 18-0 New England Patriots of 2007 had a perfect season, did not lose a game. We're up 3 with 2 minutes left when Tom Brady threw Randy Moss with the go-ahead touchdown in that Super Bowl against the Giants, up 17-14 in 2 minutes, and just like that, Eli Manning throws a prayer in the sky. David Tyree catches it with his helmet. They get into in the red zone. Plaxico Burress scores a touchdown, and just like that, their 18-0 season's over just like that. Didn't get another chance to redeem themselves again. They didn't play the game the next week. It was over just like that. So that's what tells you how hard it is to win in the NFL. So obviously the Kansas City Chiefs giving Patrick Mahomes that 10-year contract, basically locking him up for 12 years, just because they have the greatest quarterback, arguably right now, the best quarterback today on their roster, does not mean they are a shoo-in to at least make it to a Super Bowl, let alone win another one. And so for Tom Brady to have won 6 Super Bowls, could have been 8, could have won 8, or could have won all of them. Really, he could have won 8, let's just say. And you're telling me he's not worth a $500 million contract at his time? Sure, it's a different era, but I would argue Tom Brady is just as valuable of a quarterback at his age than Patrick Mahomes is right now. Just before you yell and say, oh, Aaron, you're an idiot, just look at the numbers, look at the winning percentage, look at what Tom Brady even accomplished at the same time frame, and tell me at the end of this 10-year contract, doesn't even get, even if he wins 2, so in 10 years, if he only wins 2 more Super Bowls, he still hasn't even accomplished half of what Tom Brady has. Let's just say he wins 1 more MVP, 1 more Super Bowl MVP, 1 more Super Bowl. Everybody's going to say it's worth it. Everybody's going to say the contract was worth it. But when you really look at Tom Brady, didn't even get that kind of money. And he's got, 4 regular season MVPs. He's got 4 Super Bowl MVPs and 6 Super Bowl rings. And he didn't even get a $500 million contract. So that's to say something. But moving on to other quarterback contracts, obviously there's going to be, with the state of the NFL being especially the quarterback market, if a quarterback gets a contract, the next quarterback is going to want at least equal or 2 more than Patrick Mahomes. I think this contract is going to be is an anomaly. We will never see another Patrick Mahomes contract, in my opinion, in the NFL, just because the NFL is such a dangerous, violent, what have you done for me lately league. Nobody is going to want to tie up a player to that kind of contract. Dak Prescott's is up for a contract. I know Deshaun Watson's going to be up for a contract. First of all, Dak, I know you don't ask for $40-some million. You better not damn even ask for near what Patrick Mahomes got. First of all, get to the NFC Championship game before you can even ask for $40 million. Try going a game without Zeke, without that offensive line, and see how he can elevate a team with less than adequate pieces. We saw that, Dak Prescott. We saw he can't win games without Ezekiel Elliott, without that offensive line, probably one of the top 3 offensive lines in the NFL. Can't win with poor offensive line. Before he had Amari Cooper the year before, could barely pass. He was dinking little swing pass, dump off passes. Before he got Amari Cooper. So he's got a number 1 receiver, top offensive line, top running back, top receivers, and he want to ask for $40 million. If you take $40 million, you're going to lose some of those players. You crazy. Don't even dare ask for $40 million, Dak Prescott. You better stay around that $30 million. You are not Patrick Mahomes. You ain't even Deshaun Watson. And even Deshaun Watson is going to be asking for a new deal. That is a quarterback that should at least get somewhat to $30-35 million because the man plays with a bad offensive line, an idiot head coach, no running game. He had 1 star receiver in DeAndre Hopkins, in which they traded away. The stupid-ass head coach traded away. So if I'm Deshaun Watson, oh no, you gonna write me my check. You gonna run me a tab. So that's something to keep in mind with. If I'm a quarterback that's gonna be hitting this market pretty soon, are players gonna start asking for more long-term deals like Patrick Mahomes, or does that actually hurt the quarterback? That team's gonna say, yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll take the long-term contract, because when you think about it, if Patrick Mahomes even wins another couple Super Bowls, that contract might be a bargain. He might even get another contract, or he might even want to rewrite the contract, and he might not, because the team was going to be like, nope, we got you for this price, and we're stuck with you. So that might hurt the quarterback market down the road, but we will see. Speaking of the NFL, one professional sports team is in a lot of heat. The team that resides in Washington, the Washington Pro Football Team. Their owner, Dan Snyder, is in some heat because now he's being forced to change the team name. Obviously, if everybody knows, the Washington Redskins have been a very controversial sports team name, and they've been getting a lot of heat because a lot of people have been saying, and a lot of Native Americans have been complaining that that is a offensive and racial slur, and they would like to be not have a sports team name called that. And for years, Dan Snyder wouldn't change it because he felt that it actually shows Native Americans' pride, and it shows that they're honoring them by calling a sports team the Washington Redskins. Please tell me how that shows any honor to Native Americans, but you're calling them Redskins. Imagine. Sure, a lot of people would argue, but there's a lot of other sports teams with ethnic names. Oh, well, look at the Notre Dame Irish or the Boston Celtics or whatever. But that's not the same thing as being called the Redskins. If you know the Irish, you're just calling them by their nationality. You're not calling them, the Notre Dame Whiteskins. Just imagine how offended people would be if there was a team called the Washington Whiteskins, how people would take that. Or the Washington Yellowskins. Especially looking at Americans' history and how Native Americans were basically wiped off this country and slaughtered. And then on top of that, you're going to name a sports team the Redskins? Dan Snyder, you got the nerve, the audacity? Just think about that. Or even when you look down the road, the Cleveland Indians. You going to just call the Indians and then put a logo of an Indian with a smile. That was the original logo in the 90s with the big smiling teeth and a feather in their head. You know how offensive that is? I know the Cleveland Indians don't use that logo anymore. And obviously, the college, North Dakota, Fighting Sioux, they got some heat because the Sioux tribe didn't want their people as a mascot for a sports team or a college team. Can you imagine that? And right now, their Washington Redskins are close to changing their name, not because Dan Snyder finally felt bad and he finally thought that this name was offensive. No, that is not why he's being forced to change the name. Obviously, the only reason that people in this country or corporations care is when it hurts their pocketbooks. Because Dan Snyder's minority owners, the minority owners of the Washington Redskins, wanted out because of the team name. FedEx, who has the naming rights of their stadium, wants out. And even Nike pulled all the Washington gear off their site because of the name, and they will not bring it back until they change the name. So the only reason that Dan Snyder wants to change this name is because it hurts in his pockets. Not his feelings, but his pockets. So that should tell you something. And it's about damn time they changed that name because it is offensive. It doesn't matter if 90% of Native Americans said it wasn't offensive. If that 10% said it's offensive, then get rid of it. Because 10% is still a lot of people. Just think. Bomani Jones wore the shirt emblemating the Cleveland Indians, but it called the Caucasians, where it was a white dude with money signs on the eyes instead of the Cleveland Indians logo, and people went freaking crazy over it and were so mad at Bomani Jones over that. Just think of that. That's just a t-shirt. And people threw a huge fit over that. But you want to have a whole football team named after an offensive term, sell merchandise, go to games, make Native American chants, wear feathers, people face paint themselves, and you're telling me there's no issue with that. And that's the problem with this country, where they just, they only are offended when it's convenient. It's not offensive. Who are you to say something's not offensive to a group of people? You don't get that. You don't get that privilege, that right to tell somebody to be that what they think is offensive is not offensive. No, that's not how this works. If somebody says it's offensive, then it's offensive. And I'll get to that offensiveness. I'll get to that later. But the NFL, you make that team change their name before this NFL season starts. Before Washington gets to play their first game, they need to have a different name. That's for sure. Because there is going to be big problems. And I know even if he changes the name, you won't hear an apology from Dan Snyder. You won't see him do no interview saying, he listened to the community and the people, and he finally changed the name. Nope, he's just going to change the name because he wants to get his money back, and he's going to go hide in his booth. I get it. He grew up a Washington fan. His parents or whoever owned it, and he's a fan of the game, and he feels some kind of sentimental value to the name just because he's been a fan of them all his childhood. But these are different times. This is a different era. Change the name. Anyways, moving on. The NBA, obviously, the players finally went to their so-called quote-unquote bubble and Disney World resorts out in Orlando, and they're supposed to be spending 40 days or whatever there, and it's gotten some interesting headlines and interesting so far. It's only been a few days that they've been in the bubble, and already the bubble, so-called bubble, is getting some criticism here. First of all, they showed a picture of the gym or wherever they're supposed to play. The court looks nice. It looks nice. Don't get me wrong with the different team logos and whatnot. But I'm not going to lie. It looks like they're hooping in a hotel conference room. I'm like, that shit look like the Ramada Inn. They got these NBA players hooping in a damn Ramada Inn in which the players are supposed to spend 40 days and they're supposed to hoop. They're used to playing in front of thousands upon thousands of 10,000 fans, and now you got them hooping in a Ramada Inn in the damn conference room. Y'all done got these players so messed up, and this is what you want. The games don't even start until the end of July, and already people looking at it, all the players are already complaining about this stupid-ass bubble. And then there was a few players. Start off with Troy Daniels. He posted the pictures of the food that they were serving them. Mind you, these are NBA players that are used to eating top meals, and he posted a picture of some fruit in a plastic cup, some salad, and some potato chips. And that's what these players are supposed to eat up until they play a high-level competitive playoff series, playoff basketball. And you got them eating plastic fruit in plastic cups and the salad in a plastic container? Really, NBA? That's what you're going to feed them? You got these NBA players, these multi-million-dollar athletes eating main cabin airline food. That ain't even the food they served them in first class and in business class. You got them eating meals that they serve in coach. These are NBA players that got personal chefs that eat 5-course meals every day. And you're telling me they're supposed to eat that every day? And playing in a Ramada Inn basketball court? Really? Really, NBA? Really, Adam Silver? You couldn't do better? I'm curious to see the top athletes. Obviously it's been, the Troy Daniels, the role players posting pictures of the food. I'm curious to see what if the star players are going to eat that. Because ain't no way in hell LeBron James going to be eating that. LeBron James got his own chef, his own personal chef. Ain't no way you going to feed him that. That was funny. When the day Troy Daniels posted that boxed up, plasticed up airline food, LeBron James took a picture of him having Taco Tuesday with his family. That was funny because he basically took a subliminal shot. I'm like, ain't no way you gonna feed me that. If I don't have no chef, I ain't playing. I want to see them feed Kawhi Leonard that. I want to see them feed Luka Doncic that. I want to see the star players of the NBA eating that food. I'm curious to know if they have a different meal plan than the role players. That's going to be interesting. How the hell you going to expect them to eat that for 40 days and play basketball? These athletes are, to perform at the high level, they have to eat a certain diet, certain meals with certain nutritional value and certain calories in order for their body to stay in the shape that they're in. You feeding them potato chips and boxed up salad or boxed up chicken? Nah, that ain't happening, bro. Yeah, I hope. Well, I'm curious to know as time goes, if players, how long they last in this so-called bubble with no family, no friends, no women, no nothing. I'm curious to see who the first outsider that gets snuck in that bubble. I'm curious to see how that turns out. That's gonna be funny. That's for sure. Speaking of another, they got also another bubble. The WNBA also has their own bubble. And when I seen what they would on Twitter, what they were feeding the WNBA players, I was like, oh hell no, that shit look worse than free school lunch. I said, ain't no way in hell y'all gonna disrespect some professional athletes and feed them free lunch cafeteria food. Y'all got them so fucked up. Y'all better do something better, because I don't think, if this lasts longer, feeding them that, they might not even play. They might just walk out the bubble and make the bubble burst. That's for damn sure. Speaking of the WNBA, obviously one of the owners of one of the basketball teams in the WNBA is in some hot boo-boo. That's for sure. I think one of the owners of the Atlanta Dream and current appointed Senator Kelly Loeffler of Georgia, who was also picked by Governor Kemp. I won't even elaborate on him. But they made some headlines because she was on record saying that she opposes her players of wearing Black Lives Matters on their jerseys and their equipment. She opposes Black Lives Matters, basically. And she doesn't want any of her players representing Black Lives Matters because she said Black Lives Matters is a political campaign that opposes American principles and advocates for defunding police. Get this. Removal of Jesus from the church and anti-Semitism. Just think about that. The owner, who happens to be a politician, she's a politician. She is a political figure saying something is a political campaign. So you are in politics and you're saying something else is a political movement, a political campaign. The same politician who happens to be a staunch Trump supporter is saying Black Lives Matter is political. The same president that she supports, Donald J. Trump, said about Bubba Wallace that the whole noose incident was a hoax. That's the same president that she is a huge supporter of, who makes everything about sports political, and she is saying that Black Lives Matter is a political campaign. How does that sound? And then not only that, she is the owner of a team that is based in Atlanta. Atlanta, Georgia is probably the blackest city in America, who all her players are predominantly black. Tell them they can't support something that means a lot to them. A politician. Mind you, this is a appointed senator who is up for re-election. So she better be careful with what she is saying. I personally think they should remove her. She shouldn't even be an owner anymore. She should be forced to sell it, because ain't no way a politician or a senator should be an owner of a sports team. She's saying something is political. She is a political figure herself saying something is political. How does that sound? That is how delusional these politicians are in this country. She doesn't want to have her sports team be political, and they say politics and sports don't go together, but then again, they spew on their political opinions on whatever. So isn't that kind of a political statement to say that another organization is a political campaign? She wasn't even an elected senator. She was appointed because the senator before her had to step down because of health reasons. She gets appointed by the governor, who also is a big supporter of Trump, and she gets to make blasphemous political statements like that. Man, November. Let's just say November can't come any faster, because the people that are in power right now that are running states and even the president are just done lost their goddamn minds. And please, for the love of God, people, just don't put these idiots back in power, because you get dumb shit like this, her saying stupid shit like that on TV, and then she still gets to own the team. If I was the players, I wouldn't even play for her. If I was all those black players that play for the Atlanta Dream, all those black women that play for the Atlanta Dream, I wouldn't even play. Don't even make her any money. You playing is only putting money in her pocket. Don't even play. Fans don't even show up to the games until she sells the team. That, as you see, is where they draw the line. Not the offensive shit they say, not the bullshit they spew. It's when you hurt them where it hurts them the most, their pockets. When they start losing money and it starts affecting their pockets, that's when they'll make a difference. So until then, just like Donald Sterling, if y'all remember him, the Clippers owner who was caught on a recording saying he didn't want his girlfriend hanging out with black people, he at least said it in a private conversation that happened to get leaked and recorded. This chick, Kelly Loeffler, said it to the media. That is how bold these people are. So she should be forced to sell the team too. And if I was those women, don't play for that owner until she sells the team. Don't even play. Don't make her no money. Don't play. Don't support her until she sells that team. That's for sure. Speaking of anti-Semitism, Deshaun Jackson, the Philadelphia Eagle, got himself in a jam posting on his Instagram, his IG account. So, obviously, he went a little too far with this one. So, he posted a quote from, I want to say, a fake Hitler or whatever. I don't think Adolf Hitler said any of these things, but it was a fake Hitler account or whatever from a book that said that the Jewish people are trying to take over America and world domination, or somewhere to that line. I don't remember. I don't know the full context of the quote, but the rest of the quote that he was basically trying to show was that the black people, the Negroes, were the original Israelites. And he got a lot of heat for that because it offended a lot of people, and rightfully so. If you're gonna quote anybody, Adolf Hitler might be the last person you would even want to consider posting, unless you had somewhat beliefs in whatever the hell. He was a psycho, and he was probably the worst, one of the top 5 worst people to ever live. That's for sure. And he got a lot of heat of that because obviously you know what Adolf Hitler did during the Holocaust. And I don't think he really fully grasped what he was really posting. And to make it worse on his end, that his general manager and his owner, the man that writes his checks, and then the GM, that the same general manager, I think it was Howie Roseman, who traded for him and even drafted him back when he was out of college, happened to be Jewish. I don't think he took that into consideration. I think those are the last people he would want to even be wanting to offend, are as your boss, as well as the man that works under your boss that has basically controls your employment and pays you. I'm not going to defend Deshaun Jackson, but and obviously Steven Jackson came to his defense, and even Steven Jackson is getting some heat for the quote. I'm not going to defend what Deshaun Jackson did because we are in a different times and we should all be pushing for unity and respect one another's beliefs and ethnicities and race. But I think what the Deshaun Jackson was trying to do was trying to empower fellow black folks. That is what his intention was. I think, at least in my opinion, I think what he was trying to do was trying to uplift black folks with saying, the posting the post. I mean, he didn't even say these things. He didn't even say it. He just posted something off a book. So it's not like he said it. It's not like he said these things. And he took a lot of heat, obviously, because it's different times. Once again, like I said, if Jewish people said it's offensive, no matter if all of them said it wasn't offensive, if it's a small minority group of Jewish people said that was offensive, then it is offensive, and you should take lightly to it. You should not take lightly to it, and at least be sensitive. And he did come on and apologize for what he said, but this is the same Philadelphia Eagles football team that 6 or 7 years ago had also a wide receiver in Riley Cooper. The same Riley Cooper who was on video screaming the N-word to a security guard at a country concert. I think it was a Kenny Chesney concert. Who's drunk, screaming the N-word to a security guard. Not just the N-word, but the N-word with the ER at the end. And he said it on video. It was caught on video saying the N-word. And all he got was a week off from training camp. And it was only until Michael Vick defended him and at least stuck up for him. At the end of the year, this same Philadelphia team, I want to say the same GM, Howie Roseman, gave Riley Cooper a 5-year, $25 million deal. So, I get it, it's different times. Deshaun Jackson, he's definitely going to have to pay with some kind of disciplinary action, because you have to be careful what you say, especially what you post on your social media, because you are a political figure. You're adored by thousands of people out there. To some extent, a lot of people, go to these athletes. They look up to these athletes for, motivation. They look to them as role models, even though I don't think athletes should be looked at as role models. Maybe a few, like LeBron James is a professional athlete. Muhammad Ali, those are two professional athletes you can look to as role models. But other than that, athletes shouldn't be looked at as role models. But there are people out there that look up to these people, and whatever they say, they believe, and they support. So he had to be careful. So I do see some kind of disciplinary action, maybe a suspension of some sort, a hefty fine. But let's not be hypocritical here, because Riley Cooper did a far worse thing than Deshaun Jackson did, and didn't get half the discipline. Not much discipline. So sure, you can discipline Deshaun Jackson, but that is something to keep an eye on. Curious to see what his punishment is and what he gets. But in my opinion, I don't think it should be asked. It only looks bad because his owners, once again, are Jewish. And if you offend your owner and your general manager, that's the last people you want to offend. Because if you, as a regular person, offend your boss, 9 times out of 10, you probably ain't going to be working for that boss anymore, because he might fire your ass. So I would tread lightly if I was Deshaun Jackson. Obviously apologize. I'm sure his owners, his general manager, were going to, look into it, and hopefully, they can come to some sense and don't try to trade him or anything, because he's still a great wide receiver. He can still make plays. And at the end of the day in the NFL, it's a prove me legal. What have you done for me lately? As long as Deshaun Jackson can catch touchdown passes and help the Philadelphia Eagles win games, they'll bite their tongue and keep him on the roster. So hopefully Deshaun Jackson and other athletes out there, be careful what you post and say, because you should think a lot more critically with some of the things you post, because you might say something that might offend a group of people, and it could hurt your brand, it could hurt your money. So I'm just saying, be careful, athletes. Be careful, not just athletes, but just people in general. People that have, their jobs on their, especially those people that, where your jobs are public, people know where you work, your LinkedIn account, people can find out where you work, your place of employment, and you're on social media saying offensive things, that can affect your livelihood also. We are in a different time, in a social media time, so everything you said gets looked at a microscope. No matter if you delete it or whatnot, there's always receipts, people. So be careful. You say one wrong thing, your life could be ruined. So that's just something to keep in mind with. That's something like Deshaun Jackson's paying the price for it, and other people in society have paid the price. A lot of these people in high places have been exposed for saying racist shit, and they got their asses cooked on the internet and lost their jobs, lost their homes. So that's something to keep in mind with people. Just be careful what you say on the internet. That's for sure. All right, lastly, just recently, Zion Williamson once again got himself in a jam, or it has made the headlines. Apparently, Zion Williamson's stepfather allegedly accepted $400,000 from a marketing payment from Duke before he enrolled into the school and joined the team. And obviously, with college players and not being paid, if this is true, he is considered an ineligible player, and Duke might have to subtract all the games that Zion had and basically have to wipe away all those wins. And personally speaking, who cares if Zion Williamson got his stepdad accepted $400,000 payment? Matter of fact, they lowball my man. See, they should have gave my man Zion. I'm mad because he ain't only got $400,000. He should at least got $3-4 million. Then I'd have been like, and even then, when people look at $400,000, oh my God, Zion accepted $400,000. The only reason you should be upset that he accepted $400,000 is that greedy ass, he ain't get more. He should have got $3 million. Really, who cares? Because I think college athletes like Zion Williams, players, top tier college athletes should get paid. Secondly, I would $400,000. You know how much money Zion Williamson made Duke? How much publicity he gave them? How much they were in the headlines? See, it's only a big deal because it came from Duke. No, not Duke. Duke would never do such a thing. Coach K would never need to pay anybody to come to his school. Duke does everything the right way. I like Coach K and I like Duke, but come on, guys, let's be real. How the hell do you think all these colleges, both in football and basketball, get these top athletes to begin with? You think these kids come to school because they got a great medium rare filet mignon steak in the cafeteria? You think that's why they go to these schools? You got to be a goddamn fool if you think these athletes are not going to these schools because they're being paid. All of them, all these top schools pay all these top athletes to go to their school. Let's be real. Zion was only going to be there for 1 year. He had no better chance of he didn't go there to get a degree. That's for sure. He didn't go there because he wanted to be a doctor. Oh, you know what? He might have been. I don't want to make an assumption, but what I personally, I could assure you I'm right. Zion only went to school just so he spends his 1 year at college, get his exposure, and go to the NBA draft. Honestly speaking, he didn't even have to go to Duke, and Zion still would have went to the NBA. But since the NBA has their 1 year out of high school policy, that's the only reason these kids go to these colleges for 1 year, and then they bounce. All right, so, man, if I was Zion, I would have asked for some more money. Fuck that. Run him his check. Whatever money Zion Williamson made Duke, they better give my man at least 10%. Because I know he made that school $50 million, something million dollars. They were on TV all damn day. All time all they did was talk about Duke and Zion. Y'all owe my man $3-4 million. Talking about $400,000. I'd be damned if you make a big deal out of them damn $400,000. Shoot. They ain't talking about no regular player. This is Zion Williamson. Talking about $400,000. You should have asked for $3 million. Matter of fact, you should go back to them, whoever gave you that $400,000, and say, "No, run me. I need a couple more zeros on this check." That's for sure. Shoot. Well, you got a problem with that? Well, you got an issue? Anyways, that's all I got for y'all on this episode. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Once again, you can tune on to my episode. I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, straight from the Anchor app. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, Being Technical Podcast, to listen to all my latest previous episodes. Before I go, free Woj. I'm out.
Say a word. Technical foul, Wallace. He's gone.
Said if I die today, know what I tried to say. Hitting my grandma isn't straight, that shit's a tragedy. I see them hunting niggas down there causing casualties. This hell on earth, it ain't no place to raise a family. I pray the Lord to see, I pray my soul to keep. Say my 3 prayers every night before I go to sleep. I know I'm never gonna get what isn't supposed to be, but I need changes in my life, devil too close to me. Devil too close to me, devil too close to me. I see my enemies turn friendly and get close to me. I seen they moving from a distance, they approach me. I don't trust nobody, the burner make them toast to me. Used to get blessings from my grandma before I leave out for my day. She the reason that I'm here, no any day could be my day. Countless nights at situations that ain't almost go my way. I'm still standing by my mission, I'ma do this shit my way. Remember laying on my deathbed, I couldn't speak, my body bleeding, I was restless. They stuffed them tubes down through my throat cause I was breathless. My mama never left my side, she was my best friend. I seen the tears run out her eyes and it was endless. Ain't had no fear up in my heart, my soul was stressless. He done blessed me with a chance when I was helpless. I promise I will never lose and not forget this. Remember me, so if I die today, know what I tried to say. Hitting my grandma isn't straight, that shit's a tragedy. I see them hunting niggas down there causing casualties. This hell on earth, it ain't no place to raise a family. I pray the Lord to see, I pray my soul to keep. Say my 3 prayers every night before I go to sleep. I know I'm never gonna get what isn't supposed to be, but I need changes in my life, devil too close to me. Said I need changes in my life, no I need changes. So many people around me but they feel like strangers. Don't get too close to me, you know I get anxious. I seen the devil, I hope God send me some angels. We in a crisis, walk outside and feel like we at war, my block is ISIS. Turn the TV on, them bodies dropping, we can't fight this. I survived the day but we don't treat it like it's priceless. When we at them funerals, the only time we righteous. Yeah, I need blessings on me. I know many niggas want their weapons on me. I know I've been paranoid, I watch him closely, but I just heard my nigga got shot by his homie. Damn, that shit so cold to me. Can't nobody tell me nothing, my hood still got hope in me. I just want my millions, don't want nobody to notice me. No killer, but no nigga getting close to me. Said if I die today, know what I tried to say. Hitting my grandma isn't straight, that shit's a tragedy. I see them hunting niggas down there causing casualties. This hell on earth, it ain't no place to raise a family. I pray the Lord to see, I pray my soul to keep. Say my 3 prayers every night before I go to sleep. I know I'm never gonna get what isn't supposed to be, but I need changes in my life, devil too close to me.